President Biden has just authorized the deployment of hundreds of troops to Somalia. The president also approved the Pentagon's request to target specific leaders of the Somali terror group al-Shabab. Bill Roggio is a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and the editor of FDD's Long War Journal. Bill, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
The group al-Shabab hasn't been in the news lately. Remind us of who they are and how large of an operational footprint they have.
Al-Shabab is al-Qaeda's branch in Eastern Africa. It is most prominent in Somalia as well as in northern and central Kenya. It is probably one of al-Qaeda's most effective branches. It operates in all of central and southern Somalia, inside Somalia we're talking about here. And look, I've seen estimates where they say about 5,000 fighters. That number has to be wrong. It controls a significant amount of territory in Somalia. The previous U.S. commander of CENTCOM several years ago said about 25% of Somalia was under Shabab control. The group has only gotten stronger and more effective. I would estimate it controls at least 35 to 45% of the country.
So the big question then is, do they pose a threat to Americans or American interests abroad?
Absolutely. Shabab has been responsible for several external threats. The check on the laptops, the laptop bomb, that came from Shabab. That was about a decade ago. They actually blew up an airplane or put a hole in an airplane with one such device. But we have to remember that all of al-Qaeda's branches, or what al-Qaeda refers to as their theaters, are a threat. Once they achieve safe haven, they train, they fight the local, but they use that to conduct attacks against U.S. interests, both here at home and abroad.
So what was the rationale for the previous administration to pull out those forces, and what prompted this current decision?
There's been the idea of ending the so-called endless wars. That was an idea that began under the Obama administration. President Obama wanted to withdraw from Afghanistan. He withdrew from Iraq. President Trump picked this up and ran with it. It's an idea prevalent on both sides, in both Republican and Democratic circles. But the problem is we could end our involvement in these wars, but these wars do not end. The enemy gets a vote. In the case of Somalia, Shabab is an effective group, and it's beginning to, it directly threatens the viability of the Somali state, which is quite weak. And I don't think President Biden wants to see another state go under jihadist control after Afghanistan collapsed on his watch.
So the White House hasn't confirmed this, but the New York Times is reporting that the number of special ops forces would be around 450. What would they be doing? What's the mission?
Yeah, a mission like that would be largely to target leadership of Shabab, and also they'll probably try to prevent major attacks. When President Trump withdrew, there was about 750 special forces in Somalia, and that was barely keeping a lid on the problem. It looks like we're just putting a smaller lid on the cauldron of Somalia.
I was going to ask, is that enough? And are military operations the best way to address this issue? It's not a new situation.
It's not a new situation. The reality is that Somalia needs to improve its own capabilities. But 2 decades, it still remains a fractured country. So there is a political solution that needs to be found. But until that's found, letting a group like Shabab just run free, to have free reign to operate in Somalia is quite dangerous. So there is that military component needed. Is it enough? I don't think so. I never look at numbers when it comes to the missions. But what is the mission? And then you decide how many troops you need to achieve that mission. What likes to happen in Washington is they say, they just throw numbers at a problem, and that's not the right way to conduct operations.
So what should the mission be, Bill? Should it be to completely destroy al-Shabab?
A mission like that would require tens of thousands of American troops in order to do that. There is an African Union force that's in Somalia. It has over 22,000 troops, but they mainly sit on their bases. That mission would need to be reorganized and a little bit more aggressive. Shabab, there needs to be an information campaign against Shabab. This is something we're unwilling to do because it involves religion, and groups like Shabab or al-Qaeda have a religious component that we want to ignore. So But if you want to try and keep the lid on the problem and keep Shabab from becoming more and more effective, it would take several thousand troops, organized in a manner that can be conducting continuous operations.
So do you think this is going to be a slow-burning, forever war?
The way that we have resourced this war in Somalia, yes, it will be a slow burn war, just as you said.
So what kind of support does the U.S. have from the Somali government and from partner nations?
The U.S. government does have significant support. The African Union countries, that's countries like Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, they all support the U.S. mission in Somalia. They need them, particularly U.S. air power and special operations rate. And the Somali government, absolutely, it's dependent on the U.S. to keep it afloat. So, yeah, there is tons of support. It's just the real problem in Somalia is that the Somali government and the Somali political parties remain fractured and often fight each other more than they're willing to fight Shabab.
So how does this decision to redeploy square with the White House's complete pullout from Afghanistan?
Yeah, I think this is predicated on the administration doesn't want to see another country fall under the control of an al-Qaeda linked group. In the case of Afghanistan, the Taliban and al-Qaeda are inextricably linked. Al-Qaeda supported the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan and remain there today. And I don't think this administration wants to see that happen again. It saw what happened when it pretended that a threat wasn't a threat. And now you have a Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. And if I think things stay on this path, I think you could see Somalia come under, without U.S. involvement, Somalia could come under Shabab control in a year, 2 years, 3 years. A number on that, but they've becoming increasingly more powerful. And I really think this administration doesn't want these optics. It's had enough foreign policy failures.
All right, Bill, appreciate you being on the program. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future Government Matters interviews.